Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're outlining a profound journey, the one that Islamic tradition says every single soul takes after death. We're going to walk through it all, from the very last breath to the final eternal destination. So, let's start with this incredible analogy to frame the whole conversation. Just picture it. You dip your finger in the ocean. That one single drop of water still clinging to your finger, that's our entire life here on Earth. And the rest of the ocean, well, that's the hereafter. It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
To really get a handle on this journey, we have to first understand the two completely different realities that are at play here.
Okay, so the sources lay out these two big concepts. On one hand, you have the dunya. That's the world we're in right now. It's described as temporary, a test, and compared to what's next, pretty insignificant. On the other hand, you have the Akhirah, the hereafter. This is the real deal. It's eternal, it's the real life, and it's where the final reward is given. The whole idea is that everything we do in the dunya is basically prep work for the Akhirah.
So where does this all kick off? Well, it starts with an absolute certainty, an appointment that no one can miss, reschedule, or get out of.
The Quran puts it so simply yet so powerfully. Every soul shall taste death. This isn't just an end, it's presented as a guaranteed transition. The one moment that moves a person from this temporary world into the eternal one. And immediately after burial, the first test begins. Two angels, Munkar and Nakir, show up and ask three fundamental questions. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? And who is your prophet? And here's the thing. The answers aren't about rote memorization. They come from how you actually lived your life. And based on those answers, the grave itself physically transforms into either a beautiful garden from paradise or a terrifying pit from hellfire.
And for the believer who answers correctly, the payoff is immediate. A voice from the heavens confirms their truthfulness, and their grave is literally opened up to paradise, giving them this beautiful, comforting preview of what's to come.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. Before we get to the final judgment, Islamic texts talk about a whole series of signs that will pop up, signaling that the end of the world is getting close.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the range of these signs. They aren't all just, huge cosmic events. Many are about shifts in society. Things like people competing to build taller and taller skyscrapers, or interest-based finance becoming so common that you can't escape it. And then there are these really evocative descriptions, like women being dressed but naked, which is interpreted as wearing clothing that doesn't actually provide any real modesty.
Then, after all the signs have appeared and the final trumpet sounds, everyone is brought back to life for the single most important day of their existence, the day of reckoning. And the sheer scale of this day is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. The sources say it will last for 50,000 years. Imagine that. An immense period of waiting, while every single soul stands to be judged for the life they lived. I mean, the very laws of physics as we know them are just thrown out the window. Mountains, which we think of as the most permanent things on Earth, will crumble like tufts of wool. And the oceans, they won't just flood, they will explode and catch fire. It's a total, complete reset of reality. But this day isn't just chaos. It actually has a very clear, awe-inspiring order. First, everyone is resurrected. Then, all of humanity is gathered together. The wait is so long and agonizing that people will actually beg for the judgment to just start. And finally, the divine scales are brought out to weigh every single deed, good and bad, with perfect, absolute justice.
This analogy is so powerful. Think about deeds that were done without any real faith. In this life, they might look amazing, like a pool of water to a thirsty person in the desert. But on the day of judgment, when you finally get to them hoping they'll save you, you find out they were an illusion all along. They have no substance, no weight. They're just nothing.
And this is where the accounting gets really intense. See, on this day, the only currency that matters is good deeds. And there's this concept of the bankrupt person. It's a stark warning. Someone could show up with a mountain of prayers and charity, but if they wronged people, if they slandered, stole from, or hurt others, their good deeds are used to pay those people back. And if they run out of good deeds, they have to start taking on the sins of their victim.
So, after the books have been balanced and every single account has been settled, each soul has one final crossing to make on the way to their eternal home.
This is the final test, a bridge known as a sirat. It's described as a path laid directly over hell, and here's the kicker. Everyone has to try and cross it. How you cross depends entirely on your deeds. The truly righteous might cross in the blink of an eye, as fast as lightning. Others will struggle, crawling, their journey's difficulty being a direct reflection of their sins.
But for those who make it across, what awaits them is a peace and a joy that's just beyond our imagination. This passage paints a picture of pure bliss, where you can see the happiness right on their faces, a place where all their needs are met with honor and beauty. It's the ultimate reward.
And that's where this whole explanation leaves us. It's not just an abstract timeline of events. It all comes down to this one very personal, very direct question. It takes this entire journey from being a story about the future to a question about right now.